Alright, what's up everybody? Ghost Taser 7 in the house. We are playing more Donghuang. There's a slight bromance going on with my Donghuang as well. We just hit 100 games with the Donghuang with level 5 proficiency here. So I'm feeling pretty good. Again, here's the Runes of Fate, the Harmony, the Void. That is the meta for your tank runes, Arcana for short. Anyway, so we pick up that knowledge gem there. Sometimes I call it a ruby crystal because it kind of looks like a emerald crystal, whatever, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, knowledge gem is correct. I have the sprint here. So briefly going over the skills in case you're new to the channel or Donghuang and you're just picking them up or something. The one gives you those little orbiting balls here of mass destruction. That's what we'll call that. Each one orbiting will do AP damage. If you have 3 balls, they will give you more heals, so you want to try to have 3 more often than not. But the number of balls dictates how much value you get from your 2 skill, which will throw out spears in an AoE manner. The first 2 will have a slowdown attached to that, in addition to the AP damage as per your AP scaling in the kit. And the third one will land a stun. It also gives you additional movement speed for quite a reasonable amount of time, a couple seconds or something like that. So really good stuff, and that ult there, the third skill, will just completely lock them down, and all damage received from us will be halved to both participants. So strong outplay, strong CC lock. He is a very viable champion. So if you're into playing the hottest pick in the meta to win those stars really fast and you're competent, pick up this Donghuang. Follow my footsteps, analyze, evolve, win, and let's win these games. Let's go. So I'm just trying to prioritize this Luara, get that ADC pushed away so my Lubon can do additional damage to whoever he chooses or it chooses. It's a robot, so I'm not sure the sex here. We'll just say it's a robot. It's a no sex attached to it. Whatever. Anyways, it's critical play in micro that you push back the damage dealers so your damage dealer can kite around and kind of pick who he wants to play against, so he can dish out that micro damage and you're securing his micro wins. So make sure you do that at any and all costs. Once you successfully push that enemy backliner or damage dealer away, then you can kind of come back around and hard focus the one who gets caught out, because what that does is if you push away the back line, you get that front line caught out. It's basically like getting a peel. So we refer to peel interchangeably, but in that instance, the peel here is splitting them apart and pulling one away from the enemy team. So make sure you're making critical decision making like that and deliberate actions to allow your team to have easier time in these games. If you can provide easier wins, you will steamroll the game yourself. Be a champion, make actions that are of value for the team. Support is the roam, and roaming means you provide utility, you shot call, you make decisions that are going to allow you to provide that win, that easier win condition, that easier micro. So just remember the rules. Rule number 1, movement safety. Rule number 2, gold XP, GPM, gold per minute. Rule number 3, secure those objectives, those towers, those tyrants, those overlords. You can see there's a play happening here. Ogren tries to kill me. I walk away so he doesn't get it. Just trying to block that dive on the Ogren there, stopping them from doing anything to my Lubon. I am playing very protective of my ADC. Lubon is a powerhouse of damage in the bot lane. It has always been since season 6. Sometimes you will see that Lubon banned, so just be wary of that. But anyways, back to the Ogren there, going in for the dive with a 3 versus 2. That was insufficient numbers. It was a losing scenario, so what do? We analyze the conditions there. Ogren was getting pretty low, and the other 2 weren't quite on it, and they were on cooldown. So what do? I stop him in his tracks and allow Lubon to do anything he decides to do to secure any micro or kill potential that he can. Again, sometimes you must take a bullet for the team and die, but it's okay, because even at the end of the day, I still got an S here, and we basically got 1.5 stars or pips in terms of the ranked grading. So even if you have to die for the win, you should not feel demoralized. So my team did not throw me under the bus this whole game. They was pretty much with me the whole time, and then a few times I did not want them to die. Again, it's critical that if it comes down to the damage dealer or you, the support or the top lane or the jungle, you want to keep your mage, your ADC, and your jungle alive as much as possible. We just fly in there, as you can see with the Fate, Void, Harmony. Our runes are very strong. I stay there a little bit longer just to allow the Zhao Kuao, the Breeze Heart is her nickname, the mid lane for short, to push forward and secure an additional kill. Again, tanking those turret shots are a critical play. You have to make that happen so you can secure those bully plays. And if you can do so in a clean manner, that's only going to make you feel good inside, and that's going to boost the positive morality of the team. Be a war rallier, rally the team as a good shot caller, and you will see yourself being successful in all games. So really good stuff there. We pick up that shield redemption and the boots of resistance. I'll either place that right in front of you now, or it'll be right as soon as I got them. You'll see that in the top right hand side, so make sure you're looking over that. I put it there for about 10 seconds now, so that should be just enough time to be able to get all that data and have your subconscious eating that, so you can think about that moving forward in your games. So I'm trying to stay with this jungler here. I believe his name is Han or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's going in for a play here, so I try to stop this guy here from pulling him back. Ata does have some power, but he seems a little bit lower on the tier list. I just don't see too much from him. Either way, I did update the tier list. It does include the 4 new champions, the Lorion, the Annette, the Florentino, and the new champion in the top lane that they just released, as well as Chicha. So every single champion is now on the list. All the other tier lists on Tier List Creator do not have a conclusive champion list. My list has every single champion. It was well thought out. I think about the consensus opinion in the community of all gamers in the HOA community. I've been watching pro level games, esports 2026. Just watched an India versus Vietnam game. Way to go, both of you. Vietnam totally killed it. And again, as they said in their commentary there, Vietnam has been in the pro level scene for the HOK or just 5v5 in general for a long time. So if you want to go look at that matchup, Vietnam is a real good example of what to do. They understand bluffing, they understand mind game, they understand perfect micro macro competency. As this would say, India does not. It was just a really rough matchup for them simply because they were a little newer to the scene. So that's going to happen. There is a learning curve when you're playing with the super high level sweat. It's not to put anyone down. It was a good game considering. So if you haven't watched any of those pro level plays, look up esports HOK 2026 and watch those tournaments. The winning pool for the games there is 42 million buckaroos. So these people are do or die. It's super sweat. It's super entertaining. The commentary is pretty good. So with that being said, do your homework. Right? See other people apply those knowledge, connect those dots in your brain, listen to my analyze and in analytical commentaries. We see that Ogren getting stopped by this Dun. He is a top 5% Dun in the world. It's a really good play. We support that. We make sure Han can go forward and kill that Luara there. He's got absurd gap close. He is put up pretty high on the list there. It is really hard to catch this guy. I see the My Lady under tower. She thinks she's safe, but I have that Fate, Harmony, Void, and I'm really tanky and base per level scaling. Donghuang is one of the tankiest motherfuckers in the game. So there should not be some absurd burst damage on the enemy team unless they're literally snowballing. That means they have higher levels, higher gold. As you can see here, we're sitting at 31.2 to 24.1. We definitely have a substantial lead in the levels and the gold. So there's no way they can just burst me down. I can provide those plays. Again, we're just taking some turret shots there. Tank those perfectly. Secure a mid tier 1 for the team. I'm way too low even with absurd heals, so I'm just going to go back, not greed my stay. Again, greed is something that can specifically be punished, so try to get as much value as possible. before heading back. Now, in some instances, if I feel like we're not pushing forward together, I will choose to just use my balls with 3 balls to get the maximum heal value from your 1. Again, most bang for your buck type of dealio to come back to life. It's like Arthur with having a sustain, or Garen in Wild Rift or League of Legends. It's very powerful stuff. I see my Ogren, or the Ogren, trying to kill my Han, correction. So I'm like, no, stop that. We lock him down. I activate Shield of Redemption just in case Ogren thinks he's got a true damage play right afterwards. He does have true damage. He does have movement in that bridge to go in and out beyond walls with movement speed. In addition to that, he does have some lifesteal component as well. So Ogren is definitely a good pick. I did put him up higher on the tier list. So you can see there's been a lot of changes to the tier list based on pro level opinion and these high level top percentage players that I'm playing with at the highest elo, highest MMR. So that tier list should be extremely accurate. Definitely refer to that if you need a little bit of help. We talk about elo hell sometimes, and the reality there is sometimes you're stuck in elo hell because you cannot find the right pick to climb yourself out of it. Again, if you need help with that, look at the list. If you have questions, tell me your role, tell me what you're playing. I might be able to fix some of those problems for you. Feel free to not hesitate to ask for help. There is no embarrassment in humility. There's only growth and the evolution of your brain, body, and soul. That is the future of humanity. Anyways, we pick up this blazing cape there. We'll put that somewhere either right now or when I bought it, more likely than not. It'll be on the top right hand side. Picking up that Mask of Agony is coming up next, so we can get that percentage health damage to really destroy that Ata, that Guangzi, the Ogren's semi-tank. He's a hybrid bruiser fighter, so not necessarily like full-on tank or anything like that, but it will still do decent life. And if these mid lanes pick up that against me, you'll see that they'll still do quite a bit of damage. They're kind of not building that one as much right now. They're definitely buying that Dragon Scepter type item. So we can see if we can put that into the build at this point in the video, if I remember to. Otherwise, I'll pick up a mid lane myself and show you how to play the mid lane. Again, mid lane's job is definitely zone, crucial CC setup. So when we're thinking about our rules, and we're thinking about our positions in rule number 5, picking something that's viable, you need to do the job of the role. So based on what you're picking, you pick something that fits into that role. Again, think of champions that will benefit that role's job. Again, the mid lane is supposed to be the critical controller, the burst damage dealer, the zoner controlling their movement. The jungle is supposed to be a diver or an assassin, a burst damage dealer. He can even have a split push component in his kit. Top lane is supposed to be the tank or the split pusher, hybrid damage dealer, fighter, bruiser. The support is supposed to be tanky slash damage dealer. The ADC is supposed to be high damage dealer, whether it's in basic attack, hyper carry, meaning absurd DPS, damage per second, or whatever. You can see my team was going to die there. She flashes out perfectly. I dive for her to get out, and she gets out of there with barely any life. So I feel real good about that. Like, I really don't want her to die, because if Luban gets caught without her, Luban is very easy to catch. So it's really hard for a Luban to do his job if he doesn't have a very competent front line or back line. So again, it's our job to protect the carry. They do say that in chat here, protect the carry. So do whatever you can to make sure they get those opportunities. As you can see, this Luban picks up a kill over there. Really destructive stuff. He even has the Ripper there, so we can show that as well. Red Moon here, Fate here, a little tankiness, which is nice. The Conflict here with physical attack, physical lifesteal. Reaver here, Hunt here, Eagle Eye here, sitting at a 7-2 at 3.5 KDA is no joke. That's real good stuff. You can see there's a play happening over here. Looks like somebody just picked up that Overlord, and we come in, we stop that Ada here. I tried to stop this Luar. Maybe I should have gone the Luar first. The problem is I didn't see her sitting in the bush right there. I tried to tank that to give the Dun some opportunity to go in there with his ult. Unfortunately, he had 5 seconds on the cooldown, so that sucks. But he's got the Fate, the Harmony, and the Eagle Eye. Again, this is a top 5% done, so he's building the perfect build and the perfect runes here. Lubon comes over there, collapse that Luara. So really good stuff. Lubon's clearly got real keen map awareness. Keeps their wits about them for short, so really good stuff there. All things considered, we're definitely hammering the win out of them. We're sitting at about a 6k, 7k gold lead, somewhere in there. You can see this Dun going in there beautifully to push this up and kind of distract the team. Got caught there a little bit there, and unfortunately the Ogren comes in here and instantly deletes him. Really hard to deal with that. He almost got out. If he would have got that ult, then he probably would have been fine. But apparently there was a lot of CC going on right there. So that's another component of the kit on the Ogren as well as the My Lady. Because if she gets that stun on you, then you're just stuck there for a second or two. Again, critical control on that My Lady. I see the Han getting attacked here in my jungle. So I try to pull the aggro. I know they want me because I'm really steamrolling them, and I'm in my competency game as a really strong support player. Again, I don't typically play support, but I've been around the block more than once. So we stopped that Ogren there. I knew my team was lingering around, so we try to secure that. Throw our balls off on this My Lady to secure the slowdown on that.
You serious?
Or even the stun if I landed the third. I'm just throwing it out there hoping to see how much value I get. Sometimes it's very methodical flicks. Sometimes I'm just throwing it out there to see any value I can get. Sometimes it's okay to not get the full value. Why? Because even just a little bit could be the difference between having that kill potential or not getting that kill potential. So again, think deliberately, and you may not need to be in a position to always greed the full value. So that being said, we ace the whole team, and here's the win condition here. We're not griefing our opponents. If you see a win, you take the win. There's no reason to prolong the game, just to try to attempt to get extra pips. That is simply griefing. If you can win and you know you have the power or they're down, then just push forward and win the game, okay? We're not trying to forestall games unless they're playing too much of a hardball that you need to turtle behind turrets or wait for them to give you more kills and gold because they're turtling themselves. If the enemy is turtling and not giving you anything, you push up the wave, you wait for them to overextend, and then you kill them. Okay, so that's how we do it. I do that a lot in Telenos on AOV. They don't want to give me kills. They just want to bully me. If you're going to bully me, I'm going to bully you back. And I'm eventually going to force you out of turtling under your tower, take you away from a position of power under that turret where the turret provides a buff and resistance to you, and you will be outplayed. So again, think about chase distance. If they are caught out or overextended, that is something you can instantly punish them for. If you have everything up, you have the right meta builds. At this point, you should have all the meta builds. You should have the meta runes. Arcana is what they call it technically here. So with that being said, let's go. Anyways, briefly looking over the builds here, everything on our side is looking perfectly meta. Everything on the enemy side is also perfectly meta. Again, you can see the Mask of Agony there on the My Lady with the Cobra looking item for that anti-lifesteal there, the counter building component. Again, with the Dragon Scepter there, really powerful stuff as it does burst damage. Really powerful, but as you could tell, even as they're trying to attack me, even with the most powerful builds, Donghuang has that base skilling. I had counter build as well, and with the Fate Harmony Void, even with the perfect build, tanks are really, really strong. You really have to hard focus a tank, and even then you get seconds of peel value and tank value. So think about that. Tanks win the game. It's not to say you should play a tank as a mid or a bot lane. Definitely keep them more glass cannony because you really need that extra damage. But sometimes the pros will put a tier 3 defensive at the end of their build just to kind of get just tiny bit tankier, because if you have your core build is really, really powerful on its own, and sometimes they're like, I just need a little bit of defense to kind of offset the amount of damage they have. And usually when those pros are doing it, they're doing it on ADC, and they pick up the Ominous Premonition, where they'll be able to 1v1 the enemy ADC. It's very situational in terms of instances where then now they're nerfing the other enemy ADC's attack speed, and they get it, and they have the damage to outplay it because they have more DPS. It's all math. It's all analytics. So don't just do that and think it's going to work. You have to be very competent before you start doing that type of thing. So with that being said, try to stay to the builds we have here. If you think you're good enough, you can try it out, and we can go from there. All right, so that's about it for the builds here. Just looking here at the stats, pretty high level team fighting. You can see the Dun had a lower level team fighting, but what I'll say about that is he was split pushing the map more often than not, and that is part of the top lane's job. So he did really well, and even when he was around, you can see he took 29% damage, just 1% below me with 30%. Really good stuff. You have to control the map. You have to keep pushing up. You have to take those towers down. Rule number 3, you have to secure that presence over them and kind of oppress them in terms of their ability to push out. And then when they try to push out and extend over those turrets, then you go into clap hard focus mentality and punish them for the overextend. When you have the ball, you do not drop the ball. You keep the ball. So really good stuff there. You can see pretty high team fighting percentage here overall on both sides. So he was really grouping, trying to do stuff, but our team fight macro, our composition might have been stronger. That's why it was pretty one-sided here. Again, really high damage here on the Zhao Kuo and the Lubon. So really good stuff. Again, really high team fighting on the jungle. He was coming around. He was playing the sheriff or the police, the referee, however you need to think of that in an analogical standpoint. Again, he is the one who should go around kind of picking what fights to pick and tilting the tides in favors on lanes that are either winning or need help, and he's going to go in there and help them out. So think about it like that. And then looking briefly on the enemy side, 24% on that Mylighty, the 23% on the Luara, 22%, 21% on the Ogren and Atta's damage. Really good stuff. Their team fighting was really high. You can see those damage takens on the Atta and the Guangxi on their support here. Really high numbers there. They were definitely doing their job. Again, it was just very one-sided, and that does happen a lot in my games, simply because we're just steamrolling them with my overwhelming level of competency. So if you're about that, like my channel, stay tuned, follow/subscribe. It is free, so just hit that dinging bell, and you can catch me every single day in a new video. Depending on what I'm playing, I'll switch things based on what you tell me you want. So don't hesitate to ask me about things. I'm here to help. So utilize that. Utilize me as a tool to analyze together so you can evolve and win more games. That being said, we're going to go into the end game metrics here with the objectives. Rule number 3. You can see we had 8 turrets, 1 Tyrant, 2 Overlords. They had 4 turrets, 2 Tyrants, 1 Overlord. They were still getting objectives. They did not just back down. They did not surrender. They were playing it tooth or nail all the way up. And when you get to this high level elo, this high MMR, that's what it's going to be like. And even then, even when it's one-sided, if somebody biffed the play, or they died at the incorrect time and are put on a death timer, or they die at a critical point and tilt the tide too much in the enemy's favor, it can be a landslide defeat, and then all of a sudden they win the game. So sometimes it'll be one-sided. Sometimes all of a sudden the balance shifts in the enemy side, and sometimes it's just super sweat, equally balanced on both sides. So just be wary of how the game conditions can evolve and what might happen that match. But either way, with that being said, give it your all and never surrender. Anyways, so remember, analyze, evolve, and win. Until then, you guys have a good day or night. Again, the tier list is updated, so check the beginning of the video and check those rules 1 through 5 and the 3 steps to gaming success. That'll be the conclusion for the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.